Michael Carnaval is branch manager and financial advisor. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services Incorporated, 400 Southbridge Street in Auburn, Massachusetts, 1-800-657-9126. A member of FINRA SIPC and are not deposits, not insured by FDIC or any governmental agency, not guaranteed by Webster 5 Cent Savings Bank, and subject to risk, may lose value. Webster 5 Cent Savings Bank is not affiliated with Raymond James Financial Services Incorporated. The information contained in this report does not purport to be a complete description of the securities markets or developments referred to in the material. The information has been obtained from sources considered to be reliable, but we do not guarantee that the foregoing material is accurate or complete. Any information is not a complete summary or statement of all available data necessary for making an investment decision and does not constitute a recommendation. Any opinions are those of Michael Carnaval and not necessarily those of RJFS or Raymond James. Expressions of opinion are as of this date and are subject to change without notice. Well, hi everybody, it's another Conversations With. And I have to say this, I am excited today because I've been waiting for this for about 7 or 8 years. Michael Carnaval, as you heard, is my guest. And Michael, we're there.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah,
And
it's a little earlier than we thought.
Well, yeah, in a month that, historically September is the worst month of the year, and the Dow Jones is up 2%, nearly 2%.
Yeah.
So it's amazing.
Yeah.
A couple of days ago, 21st, another all-time high.
Yeah.
Just keeps going on.
Oh yeah, well, and the thing that's really stunning, you and I have both shared this, is with all that's going on in the world, with the North Korea and the rattling of the sabers and the hoopla in the NFL and all these breaking news stories, market pays no attention.
I mean, hate to say it, but doesn't matter if there's a fire in Dorchester or something going on in North Korea, right?
Yeah.
No effect at all.
No.
Which is a little amazing, really. I mean,
And I saw a thing today that unemployment figures jumped up a little bit today, but that's because of Irma.
Yeah, you're right, because of the two hurricanes.
Yeah, the big hurricanes, and people, the buildings are destroyed and so forth.
Yeah.
And that's going to come back.
Of course, yeah, they got to rebuild it.
I mean, Amazon's running around. They're going to put a new place. They want 50,000 workers, and Target is just giving everybody a raise.
Yep, and a lot of these department stores say they're going to be hiring 75,000 people between now and the end of the year for the holiday season. So it's obviously a lot of positive things.
Oh yeah, and Janet's saying everything's under control, no problem.
Seems to be under control.
Concerned about inflation, but she says, we'll worry about that some other day.
Yeah, and her term ends in February, but it's beginning to look more and more likely that Trump will renominate her. At least the odds keep increasing, and if that's the case, well, what's going to happen that's going to cause things to deteriorate?
I mean, it's almost like round and round she goes.
Yes.
And where she stops, nobody knows.
That's exactly right.
I mean, I was watching who I think is sometimes off the deep end, but I was looking at the at CNBC today to see how we were doing get ready for the program, and they had Kramer on, and of course he was jumping up and always rah, 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 rah. And he was saying, he says, I just don't know what to say.
Yeah, no, it's amazing.
Yeah,
it's been the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 4,000 points in a year. And if you talk to people last year at this time, as we were going into the presidential election final turn, so to speak, everybody was worried.
And
then when November 8th, when they voted, people said, oh, it's going to be worse. And the exact opposite has happened.
It just keeps growing.
It just keeps growing.
And so it's doing well.
It is.
And we just you look down and you see all the numbers and all the notes.
All the numbers are good. I mean, the Dow, like we said, is up 1.8% for the month of September. It's up 13% this year. I mean, with inflation at 2%, I mean, that's real money people are making. It's just not inflated money.
Yeah, and where else can you can't?
No place else.
Near it.
No place else. Doesn't matter what you look at.
Yeah.
You can't get anything. Not only can't you get 13%, you really can't get anything that beats inflation at 2%.
No.
So, I mean, really the only game in town, and that's been like that for a few years now.
Yeah, and the bind is really, it's tough to get in now.
It is.
I mean, you can, but...
You can, Certainly the people who stayed in through the darkest days naturally are reaping the benefits right now. And the people who missed this run, runs like we've had, from '08 to now, I mean, that's like once in a lifetime. So if you miss it, you're never going to see it again.
No.
The Dow is more than tripled. It's not going to triple again. It's not. You're not going to. I don't think you're going to see the Dow at 65,000.
You have to think that at some point in time, at some number, it's gonna belly out or level out.
Right.
And it'll bounce around and stay pretty stable, as it did way back, in the 70s and 80s and 90s.
That's right.
It just stayed pretty stable.
Right.
You'd make a few bucks and you'd move on, and that would be that.
Right. Yeah.
Because you at some point, like you said, it can't go to 50.
Right. I mean, I think the Dow went for between 1968 and 1984 basically did nothing.
Yeah.
So those times will come again for people who have stayed in. It's not a big deal because hey, if you can keep what you got,
you
pretty
pick
good.
up a few points at
That's
the end of the year. If it levels out and it goes up 3, 4, 5%, you're happy.
Yeah.
Because you've made the money,
Yeah.
and now it's just going to increase that amount.
Yeah.
And it's not costing you anything.
No. And I think what has happened. I think people have listened probably too much to some of the mainstream business shows that broadcast 24 hours a day. They do it. It's ratings based, advertising based, and so they have to bring in the extremes.
Oh yeah.
Because if all they said was, hey, I think things are going to continue as they are pretty good, nobody would tune in.
No.
But if they say, oh, and we got a person coming in now who says the market's about to drop 50%.
Yeah.
And, I better tune in. I listen to it, and you don't know who the person is, but you believe what they say.
Yeah. And, it's like you watch the sports channels, and they got these, and I call them has-beens. Please forgive me, but they're has-beens. They can't hit anymore. They can't run anymore. But they got a job. And they're on there, and they're critiquing these players. And then you get the some of them, the sports guys, who went to the University of Syracuse.
Yeah.
Never played ball in their life,
Right.
and they're telling Belichick that he should have not have called that play.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm always reminded of great conversation I had with Dick Hauser, former Yankee shortstop, later managed in the big league, managed Kansas City. I was at spring training, we were chatting one day, and I didn't even have the conversation. Got around to second guessing, and he started to laugh. He said, look, let me tell you how I feel. No one has ever proven that the second guess was any better than the first one. And he says, when I'm in the bottom of the ninth inning, I got 2 guys on base, I got 2 outs, and I got somebody scheduled up, and I say, I'm gonna send up Mike Carnival. And I turn to Carnival and I say, Mike, I want you to pinch hit. Do you think I told him to go up there and strike out?
Of course not.
I sent him up there to get a hit.
Right.
Now, if it didn't happen, it wasn't because the decision was wrong. It was because the person I had counted on didn't deliver.
Right.
That's what happened.
Yeah. Yep.
And he says, and by the way, how do I know that the other guy
Wouldn't
wouldn't have
have
hit
done the
into a
same
double
thing.
play?
That's right.
You know?
Yeah, you don't.
You don't
You
know.
don't.
And he says,
Yeah.
you just go with your gut.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, absolutely.
And,
absolutely.
And so you can second guess yourself to death,
Yeah.
And you just, and like he said, you just move along.
That's all you can do. That's all you can do. I mean, again, for people who didn't get shaken out, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah, it's been a nice run.
Yeah.
Say thank you and move on.
And that's it. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, and you look at it and you say, I wonder if it ever could get to 25.
Oh, sure.
And
of course.
that's just being greedy.
Right. Right.
But the point is, in reality, and if you look back at the market over the years, as you have, it at some point it will level out.
Right.
Whatever it is, if it's 23 something, if it's 24,
Right.
if it's 22, 8. At some point, it's just going to level down, and it will just move up and down as it always has
Right.
many years in the past.
Right.
And there may be a boost and there may be a drop, but it will level out.
Right.
And it will be a nice place to invest.
It is. I mean, I think investing really is a long-term process. It's not in today, out tomorrow, get back in, get back out. You're in there should be in there for the from the day you were born to the day you die, really.
Yeah.
I mean, because no one can predict,
what's
going to happen.
What's going to happen next.
That's right.
And from this standpoint, and you and I have talked about it so many times, the old breaking news used to really affect it.
It used to.
You'd see it, boom, boom, gone.
But like anything, it did have its initial effect. But now, if you tune in the news station, you get 2 breaking news stories followed by a developing story.
Yeah.
And then...
Now they got trending now. That's a new one.
Yes.
Trending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's right. Trending our eye poppers. It's,
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
Then the weather guy comes on. The weather person comes on and says, it's going to be 80 degrees today, and I'll be back in 10 minutes to tell you what's going to happen tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
And that's really the whole thing. And I think people have become immune to this stuff.
Well, I mean, it has. And the amazing thing, I was reading an interesting article, and television viewing is down. It isn't just the NFL or Major League Baseball. It's down.
Yeah.
I mean, now the ratings are still ratings. So station A is number 1, station B is number 2. But the total people watching the news has dropped significantly. 11 o'clock has fallen right through the bottom.
Yeah.
People have gone to bed. And the reason is, as a former news person, I know why. Because I've seen a story that they broke on Tuesday. They show it Wednesday, and they show it Thursday. And you can recite it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, now the newest one, and you're going to see it for the next 3 days, is the guy who got bit by a little shark.
Okay.
The guy who got bit by a shark in the stomach. And they show him, and he's rolling with the shark, and one of his friends finally, they had to stab the shark to kill it, because they couldn't open its mouth. and they show his stomach where he got it. And of course, then they all giggled and said, a little lower, and ha 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 ha. That's going to run for the next 3 or 4 days.
Okay.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because they have they're desperate. There's not enough going on.
There's desperate.
There's not enough going on
No.
because they're doing so many news shows.
Yep.
I mean, it used to be an hour in the morning, a half hour at noon,
Yep.
and an hour at night.
Yep.
Now it's 4.5 hours in the morning,
Yeah.
an hour at noon, and
Yep.
then they start at 4 in the afternoon. Now one of the channels is added at 9 o'clock.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now you're on from 9 to 11. How much can they run?
Well, you're right. It's it's amazing. One of the stations was running late in the summer, and don't forget, starting September 6th, we'll be on a half hour early.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Well, because one of the other guys must
Right.
be.
So we're going to be live from 4:30 to 10 a.m.
Yeah.
5.5
Half
hours.
Yeah. By the way, they have a 14-minute cycle.
Okay.
Okay? And in that 14 minutes, there's the big stories, the breaking news, the quickie weather, then the good weather, then the quick sports, then the second sports, and they rotate it.
Yeah.
And they just keep going.
Yeah.
And it rotates. So if you watch at 4:30, by 10 minutes to 5, I'm done. It's all set.
Yeah.
I got everything I need. Because if I put it back on at 6, I get the
Get
same
the same
thing.
thing.
And they don't even change the order.
No.
They just keep doing them again.
Or you get our friend there on 5 who says, take a look at this. A tree fell in Charlton.
Yeah.
And a home video was sent in.
Yeah.
And you see it. The tree goes like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Interesting. That's how a tree falls.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just amazing. And I think that ties into the market and why things aren't reacting.
That's right. Because
They've seen it all before.
yeah, they have. And the bottom line to the whole thing is computers have changed the world.
Yeah.
For instance, I can sit down when I get up and I can go on to Google News and I got it. I go, "Broop," and in 30 seconds I pretty much know what happened.
Yeah.
We're still here.
Right.
That's all I need to know.
That's it.
Nothing's happened overnight.
That's it.
Hindu Ding hasn't sent his bomb over,
Yep.
or whatever his name is, over in North Korea.
Yep.
And now we're flying planes over there.
Right. No, it's true. It's or they give the teaser. What an ending at Fenway Park, Lynchy in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, you can go to a computer and I'll get the information in 30
now.
seconds.
Well, that's the other thing that drives me crazy. The other day, I forget the tease. Was it? They call them a tease. Coming up, big story from Charlton. I live in Charlton.
Right.
5 minutes later, coming up. They do it 7 times.
Yeah.
And the story was, we have a new police chief.
Yeah.
And now,
Every town
that's
has a police
that's
chief.
not bad. That's wonderful for the fellow that got the job.
Right.
But the point is, they try to get you to wait,
Right.
you know.
Right.
You know, and
And 99.9% of the viewing
It's an-
audience could care less.
could care less.
I don't live in Charlton.
Well, the reason they do it is because they don't want you to put on the other channel. Because
Okay.
that's their ratings. And their revenue depends on their ratings.
Yeah.
You know, so anyway, let's get to the economy.
Well, basically everything is as it has been for months now. Inflation still at about the Fed's 2% target, nothing great there. Leading economic indicators positive again in August. You know, the 10 components that make up that index kind of give you a snapshot of the economy. Two of the bigger ones are the factory work week and consumer expectations. Both of those were very positive for the month of August. And that's important because our economy is really dependent on consumer spending, and in order to spend money, the consumer has to have a job and feel pretty good about themselves. And those two indicators showed that, yeah, that was the case in August.
Well, I saw a thing this morning that the average family income is up
Okay.
from 2013 to 2016. You know, the median income is now up,
Okay.
and people are earning more money.
Yeah, and that's
That just keeps it cranking along.
very positive. You know, jobless claims, unbelievable. I mean, it's been 134 straight weeks that claims have been under 300,000. And even during this hurricane reporting period, they got up to 289,000, but never broke 300,000. So, I mean, yeah, a lot of people working
Oh, yeah.
and not losing jobs. And even people who've been out a long time, that number is really depressed. Number comes out on a Thursday morning, and the latest showed 1.9 million people out long term, meaning out of work for more than 26 weeks, but still looking for a job.
But you know the sad part is, if you want a job, you can get one.
Yeah, oh yeah, there's a lot of jobs out
I
there.
mean, there are people who say, I'm not going to work for that little money.
Right,
But
right.
the point is, there are more supply and demand. There are
Yeah.
more job opportunities than there are people
there's
taking
millions
advantage of them.
of jobs out right now, yeah.
Yeah. I had an occasion to meet this lovely person who's, I was at an event, and we happened to sit next to each other at the dinner, and we were chatting, and she was telling me her daughter just graduated from Nichols College and was looking for a job and wants to get into advertising. Oh, I'm so glad I met you. This is wonderful. So I set up a meeting with her and her daughter. And before I went to the meeting, I went online and I looked up advertising agencies in the Worcester area.
Okay.
And I went down the list and I hit a thing called, the site is Indeed, and it's a job site for advertising. Hit the button. 158 job availabilities in Worcester County
Okay.
in advertising today.
Yeah.
Saw a couple I might like myself.
Yeah,
Anyway.
beyond the point.
Yeah, anyway.
Beside the point.
But
Right.
I'm running down, so when I got to this meeting with this young lady, delightful person, I said, look, there's 150 jobs out there. Go get it. They're desperate.
Yeah.
She said, that many? That many? In the greater Worcester, that's Westboro, Northboro,
Yeah,
Worcester,
yeah.
you know, in
Worcester County,
Yeah, Worcester County.
basically, yeah.
And she almost fell over. And I said, here's what you do. And I gave her the address. And she said, I said, and you just go right down and find the one you like and walk in and tell them they need you.
Yeah.
And it'll even tell you when the job was posted. So if it's been up there for 2 or 3 weeks, they don't have it. They're desperate.
Right. You get a little bargaining.
You know, the question might be, are you breathing?
Right.
You
Right.
know? So I said, you go. You know, I was amazed myself.
With the number of jobs.
The
yeah.
number of jobs.
Yeah.
And by the way, these are jobs that started, the least job was a receptionist.
Okay.
And it was like $15 an hour.
Okay.
Up to $120,000 a year.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's the spread of those jobs
Yeah.
in advertising, the 150 that I saw. And there was more. I just stopped
Yeah.
at that point
Right.
and said, I can tell this kid, she's got a job
Yeah,
there.
so there's-
So I said, you can start as little as $15 an hour up to 100 grand. Go get a job for yourself.
Yeah.
And she looked at me, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No.
I
Yeah,
said, they're there.
There's a ton of them out there.
Yeah,
I mean, you just drive around, you see signs posted everywhere.
yeah.
So yeah, there's fewer and fewer people out long term. Like I said, this week was 1.9 million, and that's the 22nd straight week under 2 million. These are unprecedented results as far as the job market. I mean, you know, if it wasn't happening, you'd think you were dreaming.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, and then you see stories like BMW building a brand new facility in the United States to build their SUVs.
Yep.
Instead of making them in Germany now, they're going to make them here. The X1, the X3, the X5, they're all going to be made in the United States because they've realized that it's cheaper to make them here and sell them here than it is to make them over there and put them on a ship and ship them over here.
And of course, Amazon looking at a new facility, 50,000 workers. So I mean, it's.
But you talk about a story. I mean, Amazon is like. You know, I mean, that's got to be the story, all-time success business story.
Yeah. Now, you know, they like to say, oh, you know, we're looking for 50,000 new workers. Of course, they've put more than 50,000 workers out of work, too. Based on how they operate. But, I mean, it's...
Oh, yeah. I mean, the tragedy of the downside of it is, we can say what we will, but the downside of the whole situation is there's no more mom and pop stores. Gone. No. Small business people are in deep trouble.
Dying.
It's over. You know, and you even look at companies like Aubuchon, who's been able to hang in there and hang in there. I was talking to one of their employees recently, and they said, you know, we really have to slug it out. It's, you know, less and less people come in, you know, and they still have the little drawer with the nuts and bolts.
Oh yes, you can still buy one if you want.
You buy one if you want one. And yet you go to one of the box stores and there's 25 in a pack, and and you need one of them, and you got to buy 25.
You got to buy 25. Yeah.
I like to change my filters in my faucet, you know, because we have a well. So it's important that I change them every 6 or 8 months, and so I buy them. Well, I wanted one. No, you can't buy one. You got to buy 3. That's the deal. So I had to pay $9 instead of $3. You know, because they don't make them, and you can't buy one.
Oh, it's like batteries. I need 2. Oh, you got to buy 4. Or you need 3. Oh no, it comes in a package of 4. What do I do with the lone one?
You know.
But no, you're right. You know, they put a lot of people dating all the way back to Spags, right? Around.
Oh yeah.
And they're working their way up, right?
You know,
the department stores.
Well, you talk about Spags, and then you talk about Building 19. And I remember. That's where you went when you needed anything. You went to Building. Gone.
You
know, I mean, and you stop and think about Zayas, Bradley's, you know.
Caldor,
Ames. Gone.
Gone.
You know, and it's only a matter of time. Who's next?
Oh yeah, I mean, it won't stop.
No.
I mean, now Amazon.
I mean, Macy's is struggling.
Macy's is absolutely, and JCPenney.
JCPenney.
Sears, we know about that.
That party's over.
You
know, that's just they're in the 3rd night of the wake. They're just waiting to close the casket. You know, and it sounds horrible.
It is.
But it's real. I mean.
I
mean, the Amazons of the world have just.
They've. I mean.
Well, I mean, look at MVP Sports is gone.
Olympia
Sports Authority is gone.
I
mean, and who was Toys R Us declaring bankruptcy? Toys R Us? You got to be kidding me. You know, in trouble. You know, and so these computers have just really.
Oh yeah, for all the benefits and all the great things we say, there is also a downside to it. And like you said, the local store, the local Main Street, you know.
Well, now you know the guy. Now we all know how the poor fellow with the horses felt.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, we can go back in history. And along comes a guy named Henry Ford, brings out this automobile, and there goes the horses.
Oh yeah.
You know, and so. You know, as you go back through our own history.
Same exact thing.
The things that have been, look at cell phones have done to landline phones.
Well, even in my industry, the stuff I did 10 years ago, there's no market for it today.
No.
I mean, you know.
I mean, and as you know, look at we just had a situation here where we had Spencer and Southbridge become one operation.
Okay.
You know, now called Cornerstone.
Right.
And they're now one. They were now one entity.
If you're not big enough,
that's
what
right.
you have to do.
That's right. And
That's what you have
before
to
they
do.
got gobbled up, the two of them said, let's get together and get a little strength in the market.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you say to yourself, wow, where does it end?
It's changed, really, you know. I mean, and, you know, we don't want to get too philosophical here, but, you know, you wonder, you know, are we better off than we were? And sometimes I say, depends on what you're looking at. Certainly in the medical field, we're much better off with all this technology.
Oh,
A
absolutely.
lot of us would be dead by now.
Oh, yeah.
But beyond that, I'm not so sure we need instantaneous.
Oh, that's it. Everything is now.
Yeah, I don't know if we need that.
I'm reminded of two great things. I tell this story all the time. I was having lunch with George Bernard Shaw in 1890 over in Dublin. And we were sitting there, and he leaned over the table, and he says, Dick, progress is only made by change. And if you can't change your mind, then you can't change anything.
Yeah.
He was right in 1890,
Yeah.
probably more accurate today.
Oh, absolutely.
Progress is simply made by change.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's very difficult
It
for
is.
people to handle that.
It is.
You know, and it's exactly what we're just talking about. You know, and so we see these things happening, and then I'm always reminded of Einstein. In 1939, that's a long time ago, he said, the more technology we create, the more idiots we're going to make.
Yeah. Oh, that's
And we
true.
got people running around with a foolish phone,
Oh, yeah.
you know, and taking pictures with it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I used to have a Kodak to take pictures.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you stop and think about the great things that in our lifetime, Kodak cameras, they were
Gone.
the biggest thing since the pop-up toaster.
Polaroid gone.
Yeah, Polaroid, gone.
Yeah.
Revolutionized
Oh,
it,
yeah.
you know,
Oh, yeah.
and gone.
I mean, I could take a Polaroid picture in 10 seconds. There it is.
Yeah,
Now it's down to a split second.
split second.
Let me press the thing. There it is. You want-
It's right on you.
Yeah.
Well, see,
Oh, you
it's-
want a copy of it?
Want to try
Yeah.
another one?
Yeah.
You don't like that one? Let's take another one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Oh, don't worry about it. I can edit it
Yeah,
right
no,
on my,
don't worry about
my phone. Yeah, so
You want to be smiling? I'll make you smile.
yeah. Some of us need more hair. No trouble. We can do
We'll
that
fix
too.
you, yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
Yeah.
but look at, but to your point, I had a great conversation with Dr. Gorel, my physician, who I respect so much, and he said that because of the research and development in medicine, we as a society will be living longer than we ever have.
Mm-hmm.
He says reaching 100 is not going to be shocking anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Many people will live to be 100.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He said, if you do the right things,
Right.
and you stay in shape,
And get a little lucky.
yeah, and you don't get something. He said you could conceivably see people and be functioning at 100.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he said because we've really developed, and you mentioned it earlier, how we've really reached that point, you know, where we are. And but you can look back on certain things and say, gee, I wonder how like I said, I wonder how the poor horses felt.
Right.
You know.
Oh, yeah.
And we look back and we can
yeah.
chuckle about it.
Yeah.
But look back. I mean, I can look back. Newspapers are in deep trouble.
Yeah. They get smaller and smaller.
Smaller and smaller.
And you know, thank God the local paper is running a contest with all these big ads because the thing would be half the size.
Well, you know, even today, you see, I remember when the Sunday paper, the automobile section was 20 pages alone, 4 pages.
Oh, yeah.
Because you talk to any automobile person, it's all on the internet now. Mm-hmm. Everything is done. They got Car Gurus, Cars R Us,
Oh, yeah.
whatever they are, and you can go in and find any car you want.
Well, the Globe used to run there about twice a year. I don't know what they used to call it, but it was the classifieds.
Yeah.
The thing was
Oh yeah.
3
oh,
inches
oh,
thick.
yeah. 2 pages
Yeah.
last Sunday.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
2 pages. You know, Help Wanted, 1 page.
one page. Because that's all gone
all
to
on-
the Indeeds
yeah,
of
Indeeds
the world.
in the world, and the
Yeah.
what's it, Monster, whatever it is.
Monster.com
Yeah.
and so I mean, we talk about how great the market has been and how great this
And it's
that
true.
is, and it's true, but there's always a flip side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who took the hit?
Right. And so, you know, like with everything, whether you're investing or whatever you're doing, there's always two sides of everything.
Well, we're running down to the last minute, and we got the Patriots beginning and the Red Sox finishing.
That's right.
So we
Yeah.
could have another exciting fall.
We could. It's just amazing, you know, the Red Sox are a couple of days away from clinching the division, and
They better win.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Never
But I
mind.
mean, it's getting very little press.
No,
It's
not like it used to be.
national anthems and
Oh,
other
yeah,
things that are
taken away.
Taken away, yeah.
Well, we've come to an end of another great program, Michael. I want to thank you very much. And we just keep clicking along. And we'll see you next month. And Santa Claus is on his way.
That's what
so it only can get better.
We're heading into the strong period of the year,
That's
at
right.
least historically.
That's right.
All right.
So it only can get better.
That's right.
There you are. There you are, folks. That's another Conversations with.